feel better right now, right?
A lot better.
Okay. All right, here we are at the
Gravure Gallery.
Gravure Gallery. And what's the address here?
51 Main Street.
51 Main Street. And what I did not know, I thought this was Don Gorvet's gallery solely, but in actuality, there are other fantastic artists like the man in front of me. Your name?
Sean Hurley.
Sean Hurley, and you do a different type of process for your art than I've ever heard of, and is there a name for this process?
This is etching. Etching is another method of printmaking. Don, who owns the shop here, focuses on woodcut, which is a relief form of printmaking. Etching is another centuries-old method of printmaking, and unlike a woodcut, which is printed off a wood block, which is carved by hand, an etching is printed off a metal plate, usually copper or zinc, and the actual incision of the line into the plate, rather than being done by brute force with your hand like it is in a woodcut, is actually accomplished with an acid, and the acid etches the line into the metal.
Pretty cool. And so I'm gonna zoom down here so that people can see what we're talking about, minus the glare. But I think that video is going to come well. And this right here is, how far along on this etching are you?
This is the very beginning of a new etching.
And you were telling me that some of these etchings take you up to 5 weeks to complete.
Sometimes 5-6 weeks, depending on the size and complexity.
And this right here is a copy of the original down to scale of what a drawing that you did?
Right. I did a drawing outside. It was a large drawing, almost twice that size. And what I did is photocopied it, had it reduced to the same size as the etching plate that I'm working on, and also had it mirrored. When you make a print, it prints in reverse. So if you want to come out true to life, you have to mirror it somehow during the production. So what I did, I'm using the drawing as a reference, and I had it mirrored mechanically, so rather than having to look at it in a mirror or mentally reverse it, I can just look at the drawing in reverse.
So some of the details, such as the silo and the conveyor, we'll go down here. You can see the conveyor right there, and the silo right there. And you said this is about a 1/5 of the way done?
Oh, I don't know if I could quantify it like that, but okay. I'd say I've got about 2 days of work into this so far, and I'm expecting this to take at least a month or two.
Wow,
from start to finish.
So why don't you show us the tool that can you put your tool down for a sec?
Sure. Right. And that's sort of a makeshift tool, actually.
So it has a metal tip on it?
Right. Any sharp tool can be used.
Okay.
Any sort of a needle or anything sharp.
So why don't you show me what you would do with that?
Well, this is a copper plate, and it's coated with a kind of a waxy surface, which we refer to as a ground. And so basically I'm just drawing through the ground with this needle. So anywhere that I run the needle, I'm just scraping into the ground.
Now if you make a mistake, are you pretty much screwed, or can you go back over it with wax?
Yeah, you can kind of cover it up. See, nothing that I do so far is having any effect on the metal. I'm going to place this whole thing into acid eventually, and the waxy ground resists the acid, and anywhere that I've scraped a line through the ground, the acid will touch the plate and etch a line in. So if I draw a line that I don't want to etch prior to putting it into the acid, I can apply sort of a varnish over it, and that'll prevent the acid from touching it. And I did here make a little mistake. I didn't like the angle of the line that I'd drawn initially, so sometime before I etch that plate I'll just make sure to cover that up, stop it out so that it doesn't get affected by the acid.
So why don't we go over it right now, and we'll take a peek and show me what eventually, not this piece because obviously it's not done, but one of your finished pieces. Let's
Sure.
take a look. What'll be the type of finished product?
Well, here are two up here, and this is a print, an etching that I did of the construction ditch in Downtown Crossing down in Boston.
Wow.
And up there is another finished etching. That's Brattleboro, Vermont.
It's amazing that's a print. That is just amazing. What do you like about this this technique, and what drew you to make this your medium?
Well, I've always been a draftsman. I've loved drawing my entire life since I was a little kid, and I also love I love science and technique, and etching in a way is almost like a drawing with a science project thrown in, a little bit of an engineering experiment. You have to learn to deal with the acid and the press. You leave it in the acid for a long time, it's going to etch a deep line, and that's going to print a certain way. A short time in the acid, it's going to etch a light line, and that'll print a certain way. And you sort of have to come up with this strategy of how you're going to master the acids and master the press and the different variabilities of the paper. And it just adds a whole nother dimension of difficulty and challenge to surmount.
Do you love that challenge? Is that what drives you? Or
Yeah, I think surmounting that challenge is one of the most satisfying things. Not just about etching. I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people do printmaking. You know, unlike a painting or a drawing where you're working directly on the surface, on the canvas or on the sheet of paper, with a print you're manipulating an object to make it create an image the way you want it to. So there's a degree of separation which is just a whole nother dimension of challenge, and learning to both control it and also to just roll with whatever unexpected things invariably happen, I think is why, I know it's why I love printmaking so much, and I think it's what draws a lot of people to the method.
Very cool. So do you have a website? Where can people find, other than this location,
Yep.
is there a website people can learn more about you?
I do have my own website is Art by SH, which is my initials, Sean Hurley, artbysh.com, and you can also check out the website for the gallery here, which is dongorvetgallery.com.
Okay, and the address here again?
This is 51 Main Street, and we're going to be doing workshops in etching and woodcut all summer, so if you're interested,
Oh, really?
check it out. Yep.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.